Hi guys, it's Kimberly back with the Twin Flame family, and this is your spring equinox energy reading for this week, going from, I'm going to start it from Monday, this energy. The vernal equinox arrives at, I believe it's 6:29 Eastern Standard Time, and this reading will extend through the week. So this is kind of the energies that I'm getting for the collective. I've pulled some cards that are very interesting. I've been talking a lot about springtime being, this week in particular, an insurgence of light coming in to the planet, especially for those of us who are light workers, to reach out and grab that light, let it sort of propel us forward. There will be a lot of forward momentum this week and into the upcoming weeks through April. So, interesting because I'm going to actually work this whole reading with the cards backwards rather than starting with the masculine and feminine and the shared energies. I'm just going to take you to what was crowning the situation and the collective, and that is the Twin Flame card. And I love when this shows up. I have two decks that have the Twin Flames in them, and they don't often show up, and when they do, I know it's very poignant. So this is saying the answer to your question involves a spiritually based romantic relationship. Duh. This is honestly like just a validation of, this is what we're reading. This is a very, very, very high vibrational period, I think, for Twin Flames. I think the theme for this next week is about forgiveness. And I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. So right now I've got, again, I'm going to go down. So the crowning cards for the divine masculine are persistence. Okay. And this, again, feels like a very light energy. I think it's a persistence that is calling the masculine to step into his masculine. So that means the taking action, the going after what one truly desires. That's all part of persistence. And up until this point, there's been a lot of inaction, uncertainty, and what's come up below it for the masculine is the Page Wands in reverse. So Page Wands and then reverse. And this is often about that confusion and maybe the masculine not being sure or, doing a dance that has created some of that uncertainty or just kind of being stuck. And this is about really starting to push forward now. And this persistent energy is coming through. You can see the light that I keep talking about. This reminds me of the sun, and I'm getting that sun energy coming through this week for the, with the equinox. So the reason for this confusion and the stuckness and the inaction or the inability to really step up has been because of the shared condition, which is the phobias and the fears. These are fears that we've brought forward from past lives. These are also fears that have stemmed primarily, I think, from childhood wounds and our past romantic relationships. Now, for the masculine, I feel he carries it around as attached to consciously the past romantic relationships. However, until he digs deeper to the core wound, there won't be that full awareness or full awakening. And the core wound is stemming in his childhood. So something to be aware of if you are a masculine listening to this video and you identify with the masculine energy is if you are still carrying around those wounds that are, maybe around past relationship hurts, like, unfaithfulness or infidelity, or just, putting in a lot of energy, not getting back what you deserved, or having to battle over a divorce or children or whatever it may be, that to look deeper into those situations and really see in those particular relationships, what was your role in it and how did you attract that energy into your life? Because usually these come up as patterns for us. So this may not be whatever the particular wound is, has probably been recurring in your life. And it's probably been something that you could look to your childhood and identify. So usually around abandonment or trust trust, like trusting the mother figure or trusting women. That's often where confusion or, inability to commit or not wanting to commit again because, the trust has been lost. And so we're just being asked to look deeper into that and to also recall where that's really coming from and to recognize that fear is an illusion and that these are beliefs that can be changed and shifted. And I feel as though the masculine will shift it and will start to take action towards what he wants, the direction he wants to move in, his own happiness, the authenticity that has been lacking by staying out of fear, staying where he's at out of fear. So, and then for the feminine, I'm getting freedom is coming up, Hina, and freedom is all about freeing ourselves from the chains that hold us back. I'm also from the tarot deck getting the reversed Two Pentacles. This is often about balance, and I feel like this is about balance for the feminine. She's really trying to balance the masculine and feminine energies within, and that's the biggest struggle. The other balance piece of this is the balance between the surrender and the attachment. There's also another juggling act going on within her, and that is for the how do I juggle like my career and my mission or what I really want to do versus what I'm actually doing now, or how do I juggle this healing work with all the other stuff going on in my life. And reaching that balance is going to be very freeing. Part of that is embracing her full femininity, and that means the feminine in the most authentic way. And the false masculine that the feminine carries around can be quite taxing on the ego. It's tiresome. It's exhausting to have to fight battles, to be acting and reacting from wounds all the time. And the grace of the authentic feminine who's moving in line with her, self, who's in her power center, who is aware of the need to be soft and receptive, that feminine feels a lot of freedom. Okay. And so it's not, if you feel as though you're carrying around a lot of false masculine or out of balance masculine, or you're not really stepping in your power center, or you're just having trouble juggling everything that's going on right now, know that let things come to you. Step into your focus on yourself. If you're feeling broken, and, just struggling, hard days, good moments, hard days, but in the hard times, remember to shine the light back on yourself. Do the things that fill you up. Create. And this is, I think, really what's been coming up in private session too, is like, this is not the time that you need to justify yourself or have to explain. There's nothing to explain about who you are or what you want, or the only one who needs to know that is you. So make sure you get clear about what you want and what your values are, because the guides are asking you and asking the collective to clarify what are our strengths, how do we value ourselves, and how do we walk in line with that value, setting healthy boundaries, allowing things to come to us rather than having to chase them. And the combined energy in the tarot is coming up as the Queen of Pentacles. Now, sometimes this can mean a feminine in your life who's placed there so that you can emulate that feminine energy. But this Queen of Pentacles, she is really about, like, don't go out chasing things. This is about being in your power center, being a creator, being really connected to your feminine energy, and not the need not to have to justify oneself, not to have to explain. And so this is going back to fears, the fear with the feminine about, having to justify herself or explain, not being in her full feminine power, is coming back from childhood also. These are chains that she's had on since early, like 5, 6 years old, maybe 4, 5, 6, and onward. And they're around usually the daddy wounds or the parental wounds. It's usually the emulation of a, type A mom or survivor warrior type mom who was maybe a single parent, or it's the wound usually reflected from not receiving the love that she needed from her father, or the acceptance or the understanding, or the being abandoned by one or both parents. Could be also a dynamic with siblings and vying for parental attention or not being heard. And so these fears have come up and they've tied us to really harsh reactions, really harsh energy that doesn't serve us any longer. So they're saying step into the softer energy, step into the true power center, which is graceful, which is soft, which is strong, but it's just still and centered. And that is really how we're going to find the most balance between our inner masculine and feminine. And this does not happen overnight. This takes practice. And if any of you are interested in partaking in a class, I have a workshop coming up in April. It's on April 11th. It's on the website already. You can register. And it's transforming the warrior, so the wounded warrior, into the divine feminine goddess. And we'll go in depth and talk about what the wounded warrior is, how she formed, and what the goddess energy is, and how to transform that practically. And it's going to be a great class. I've held this several times. I keep morphing the material as I see the need for change and enhancements, but would love for you to join me. It's April 11th, Tuesday, April 11th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's on the website, thetwinflamefamily.com. So underneath the situation, I am getting the forgiveness card. And twin flames across the board, masculine and feminine, the collective, in your individual situation, you are being called to forgive right now. And forgiveness for some of you, especially in an out of balance masculine energy, whether you're the divine masculine in that energy or whether you're the divine feminine in that energy. Forgiveness has come difficult for us because forgiveness has equated to letting down guards and not feeling protected. And what the angels and the guides are saying is it's time to find a new definition of forgiveness, because forgiveness is what creates the freedom, okay? Forgiveness is what brings love back into the situation and back into your heart. So the inability to forgive is often the closed heart chakra. It's the resistance, right? And when we're in resistance, it blocks the energy from flowing. And forgiveness is about, like I said, freeing ourselves, but allowing the love to come back in without the fear. Okay, so a lot of times we're reluctant to forgive because we're fearful that if we do forgive, we're going to get hurt again. And what the message is it's time to forgive. It's time to find a new understanding of forgiveness. It is a softening. It is a true beam of love that needs to shine through both onto yourself and within your situation for whatever hurts or wrongs have happened. It's the forgiveness of the past. It's the forgiveness of our twin flames for the now, for relationships of the past, forgiving our parents. It's a lot of releasing. And I think the inability to forgive, again, has really just kept us stuck in a resistant energy. And we want to stay in the flow. And the only way to do that is to tap into our heart center and get really authentic with what we feel. And forgiveness is usually a lot easier than we think. It's just that we have so much resistance towards it because of the fear of being hurt again. But it is freeing. It doesn't mean that you haven't learned lessons, or it doesn't mean that you're going to repeat the same mistakes or go back into the same patterns, or it's not asking you to replay out situations that were hurtful. You've learned. Now you've learned, you've grown, you know what to do, what not. You also are trusting your intuition better than you were before. So this in no way is stepping back. This is about releasing all the resistance and letting love shine through rather than the wall, the armor around our hearts. So I will leave you with that for this week, and I hope that's helpful for you. Try to remember it's about open heart. That's going to free us. The masculine's taking action. The feminine is finding balance. And we are collectively, ridding ourselves of fear and finding new beliefs that are allowing things to really flow in our lives. So ride out this energy. Have a beautiful beginning of your spring season, because lots of good things are on their way for everybody. And I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.